common sense. Follow a stream, because I knew the streams always go downhill. Follow that stream, no matter which way it wound. Follow, 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 follow. And that took me further down until I came underneath the mist. And that sort of metaphor of following something which you know is going in the correct direction. And that is like the emotion of peace, the emotion of clarity, the emotion of joy, even the emotion of happiness. Feeling it, not being afraid of it, because the powerful emotions, you can't control them, you just go with them. It's like people say they've been surfing. You're surfing and you have to go on with that wave. Or people have been, what's the other similes? Don't fight it, just flow with it. And that type of, I'm going to let go, and I'm going to take my hands off the steering wheel, feet off the pedals, and just let it happen. That little bit of safety, dealing with emotional power of the deep meditations, that's usually how the journey evolves. So, it's not that when you're meditating you think, where am I? Sort of, where does this fit in with all these stages of meditation which you can read about? Don't even think that type of assessment, because that's very much an intellectual game. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3, grade 12 at school, BA, MA, PhD, permanent head damage, that means. 2 MAs, which means your mama, like noodles. So gong si fa choi for everybody. That's why mama, you need to have 2 master's degrees to eat mama noodles. That's a Thai noodle. Or baba. That's if you've got 2 BAs and then you're a sheep. But it's not going in that sort of direction. It's going in the direction that you can feel that this is peaceful, this is happiness, this is coherent, this is actually where it feels that you're going in the right direction. Was that? Just about a year ago, 2 years ago, during one of the rains retreats. Then this one gentleman, he was wanted to leave the rains retreat. There was 3 months in Jhana Grove. And he said, why do you want to leave? He said, I'm getting nowhere. He said, yeah, I think you're doing well. I said, no, I'm not. So, we needed something for a monastery, so I sent him to the shopping centre in Armadale. And when he came back, I said, Ajahn Brahm, that place is mad, that's crazy. He said, yeah, but you didn't say that when you first came here. You've actually made some progress. You become so peaceful, you haven't realised how peaceful you've become. And when you've got something to compare it with, the Armadale Shopping Centre, nothing wrong with Armadale Shopping Centre, it's just that when you've been really peaceful for a while, that really sort of stands out as, wow, real crazy stuff. So, this was where he found out, yes, he was getting somewhere. He had to have an emotional test, feel it. There was some real deep peace in there, real joy. And he really contrasted with what was his usual life beforehand. So this is actually where we get our indicators. So when we're meditating, we actually don't think, we're watching what breath, is it an in-breath or out-breath, or should I do it this way? What does it feel like? How is it? And if you feel that this is really peaceful, and that you are getting more awake, you are getting to some more a powerful, happy mind. And if you can't see it, then ask the people you live with, the people you work with. And they will tell you. Because sometimes our own progress is just like, the old progress of just looking in the mirror every morning. It's got some old photographs of me, which, with a 100-year anniversary of the birth of Ajahn Chah book. And that I was really thin in those days. Now I'm fat and old. I never knew the day that happened. When I woke up in the morning, if I looked in the mirror, I looked pretty much the same as I was the day before. Your progress is like that. It's so incremental, you don't notice it. And now, old, falling apart. So you don't know, what was a day that actually happened and didn't happen a day? It just gradually got deeper and deeper. And this is actually where you find your emotional world. Really sensitive to it. So you can really feel your way into meditation. You know that sometimes on that whole subject, and sometimes people's experience of the really deep meditations, sometimes people call like spiritual experiences. Pure love, one with everything, just so blissed out. Ooh, which one are you looking at? And quite often, it's just different ways of experience the same thing. But when you try to make a description of it, you know, sometimes we're just so, you call it threadbare in our words to describe such experiences, that sometimes people use analogies. Yeah, it's like this, it's like that. It's not exactly the same, but it's really deep. It's an emotion of deep freedom, peace. And sometimes people say, oh, it's impossible. Well, you know, you've been there, it happens. This is one of the reasons why the intellect cannot get there, but the emotions can. Feel it, and just trust it. And you can always stop whenever you want, and go back. But, little by little, you trust, this is peaceful, this is good, this is powerful, I can handle this. And you have a wonderful time, liberating the mind from the prison of those conceptual frameworks, using the power of feeling the great joys of the mind. Anyway, there we go. So it also happens that, you know, you have to let go of your idea of yourself, who you are, because that's where the intellect comes from. Interestingly, for those of you going deeper now, for those of you who know any the Buddhist language, Pali or Sanskrit, the word for mind is called mano. And the word for measuring is actually maneti, which is literally what the mind does. That's the job of the mind, to measuring, assessing. So when that stops, that part of your mind disappears and something else appears. No measuring anymore, but feeling joy, bliss. Go for it. Okay, there we go. So now we can actually go back to work, trying to inspire you. So here we go. You can sit down in your meditation posture. I'll lead the first 15 minutes or so, then let you do your meditation. And afterwards, when the meditation finishes, after about 15 minutes, I'll be quiet, and then I'll say a few words just before the meditation finishes, and then ring the gong. And there'll be a chance for questions and answers afterwards. Cold. Hot. I think I need my own personalised air conditioner so I get cool, but you can be warm. There we go. So you see me fidgeting around a bit, because it's really important to get the best posture you possibly can get under the circumstances that you're getting old and things are falling apart. So with the eyes closed, we can become more sensitive to our body. Again, being able to receive the physical sensations without judging them, but just feeling them. It's a sort of judgment, just simple ones. Are you comfortable or not? And this information comes from mindfulness, but with the caring, not just an analytical mindfulness, but an emotional mindfulness of looking after something which is under your care, your body. And I found it just obvious that you ask a question. Asking a question puts the mind's focus on that area of your body. How are you feeling? Legs? How are you feeling butt? Bottom? How are you feeling back? Don't go that fast though, just one at a time. If your legs are comfortable, and don't be heedless and pass over these things too quickly. Feel them first of all. And adjust. So when I look at my buttocks, you feel them. Are they okay? And I'm willing just to spend a few times fidgeting here, fidgeting there, until I'm satisfied and I've done the best I can. I don't rush. And it's not wasting time, because preparation is saving time. Otherwise, I know later on the bottom will be sore, cut off some of the blood supply, and I feel like I've got a dead leg falling asleep, pins and needles, whatever you call it. So paying attention saves time. And my back, just really get into the habit of stretching it at the very beginning. Just like I've seen dogs do. And it's a good thing to do, because this is the year of the dog. So follow some dog wisdom, good stretch. And relax. And I can feel this is good, comfortable. And my body can stay here with this back position. And you realize it's not going to wait, because you looked after it to begin with. You look after the hands. So much silly stuff when people say you should put your hands here, put your hands there. Wherever your hands are comfortable, it's good enough. Shoulders relaxed. When you get skilled in physical feelings and emotions, it's pretty easy just to look at a part of your body and learn how to relax that part. If it doesn't work, you feel it doesn't work. You get the feedback. Try something else. Until, trial and error, over not that long, you can learn to take a part of the body and really deeply relax it, just by focusing and letting it be. Using the simile of the guitar string, pulled tight on both ends, stretched, otherwise called stress. How do you release that? By imagining those two ends of the string and letting go. Nothing being pulled, squashed, pushed, forced. Just at ease. Make sure the neck is relaxed. Aware, kind, letting it be. It's where the main hindrances of wanting, which is an emotion, sense of lack, ill will, being upset, a reaction against things which one doesn't know how to deal with and accept. All coming from this controlling instead of feeling. The head itself open, nothing squashed, and then the forehead and the eyes loose, free. You don't rush, keep it natural. Like haste is another intellectual pursuit. Has to be done quickly, got lots to do. Present moment awareness, just now, means you have all the time in the world. You can relax and be and feel. My body just sitting here feels pretty cool, relaxed. And if there's any part which is a bit tight, I be with that feeling, not scared of it. Which means I don't need to control it. Whatever's in front of your mind right now is important, and I care for it. I learn how my body works, any aches and pains, tightnesses. You let them be. And you learn just by relaxing. This incredible sense of freedom and healing happens. Two types of freedom: freedom from desires and the freedom of desires. This is the freedom from desires. Knowing that whatever you're feeling is, you can be here. It doesn't need to be changed or altered. You're not seeking for something. You're just not getting caught up in seeking. Just being. Accepting, caring. Once the body is really delightfully free, if you wish to look at your peaceometer, how peaceful are you? Reacting to stuff just agitates the mind. And then once you're peaceful enough, so often just the breath comes up and you don't control the breath. You treat the breath like a friend with kindness. You see where your breath takes you. Let go on this journey, feeling your way into greater peace, happiness and freedom. No past, no future, just being here, aware, still as you can, and watching the awareness grow and the joy blossom. I'm going to be quiet now to the end of the meditation. Close to the end of the meditation. How do you feel inside? How peaceful are you? What is peace like as an emotional truth? A feeling that's nothing is wanted, nothing is required. Beautiful contentment. True rest. Oh, now ring the gong 3 times. Let the sound of the gong gently take you out from the cool meditation. Very good. It's very nice. Now usually we have any questions from people here in the room? Yes. Okay, over to Chris. Welcome back, Chris, wherever you've been.
Thank you, Bhante. I've got a question about stepping out of my comfort zone, which I do from time to time in meditation, deep meditation. But it seems to me, my experience is that it provokes me and challenges me to step out of my comfort zone outside of meditation in the way that I live my life. The first part of my question is, do they run parallel, the stepping out of your comfort zone and progress in meditation and almost like a parallel track outside in life? And that leads into the next question, which is the idea in the Theravada word marga, or path. Is it irreversible, or once you know something, is there no backsliding back from that point? In other words, if you step out of your comfort zone, you see a bigger picture, you develop wisdom, can you lose that and go back to where you came from?
Thank you, Chris. It's a nice question. That it is true that when you how you meditate, it does reflect a lot about how you live your life. It does affect it. Otherwise, there would be this disconnect between sort of what you do when you sit down and how you live your life. Little things like when you have this beautiful sense of kindness and acceptance and non-fighting. That is why it creates a more harmonious and peaceful, accepting attitude in life. You don't go around fighting things. You don't get so angry at people. You can let things be and let things go. And you may not be used to that, but you find it's really helpful. And again, outside of comfort zone, the most comfortable place for me is in my cave, meditating. And I have to come out of that comfort zone a lot. And it's life. It's allowing yourself to learn more, grow. So it is true, you become adventurous. Even at my old age, still adventurous. As I said last night, boldly going where no monk has gone before. That's from Star Trek, sort of. But it's also true that that does challenge you sometimes and affect you. And the last part of the question was the second part?
The second part was the idea of marga and path, because as contrasted to I'm going to practice the Dhamma, Ajahn, and it's like a smorgasbord of ideas and beliefs and practices, and one day I'll do a bit of this, and one day I'll do a little bit of that. And this idea about the path being something where you travel along this path and transitory states start to take root inside oneself and become metamorphosed into traits, personality traits.
Yeah, that's true, because once you have experience, some peace and bliss, you don't want to go back to that rotten life again. It's not just being negative towards the life, but if you have some very, very peaceful attitudes which free you. Just like people say, I never smoked cigarettes in my life. Honestly, because my father never smoked, because he had asthma, so he couldn't do it. So that people say it's hard to give up smoking, but then sometimes when you're giving it up, what do you want to go back for? It doesn't make any real sense. And if you've escaped sort of abject poverty or harm, you wouldn't like to go into an abusive household again. You're free, and sometimes, of course, we can forget, and just become a little bit unmindful. But it's very hard for that sort of experience of freedom. If you've been released from a prison, it's the old metaphor. How many people who have been released from jail and really free just volunteer to go back again? I know some do.
Lots.
Lots, yeah.
Lots. No, hold on, Bhante.
Yeah,
This is exactly my point. Lots of people do that because they can't handle the experience of being outside and the extra freedom. That's exactly my point.
Yeah, but when you are free and you live in that freedom and you explore that freedom, they say, what do I want to go back there for? It doesn't make any real sense that you would go back there again. So once you realise just what you've escaped from. So it is, would you like to go, let's lose another metaphor, would you like to go back to school again? Do great, because schools have changed. I mean, some of the stuff which I learned when I was at school, it's just irrelevant now. So if I went back to sort of grade 8, I don't know if I'd pass the exam. So would you like to do that again? So there's some things which we like to, once we realise just how wonderful it is to be free, we grow out of that.
Is that the hallmark of progress in the path, that there's no backsliding? When you're seriously practicing the path, the hallmark, then that you're doing it right, is there's no real serious, significant backslide, not just little slips.
Yeah, but sometimes when it says serious, that's the one lets go of serious pretty quickly in this path. Because serious, it is controlling, just ego, self. Come on, be serious. So that sort of word, be committed, be authentic. But what you're saying is actually you go backwards again. Somebody said this so many years ago here, that they said they came in, meditated, and listened to some of these teachings. They disappeared for a few years, and they came back and said, I just can't forget and dismiss those teachings. They're always there. There's something about them which makes sense, which is incredibly alluring. I can try and avoid them. I can try to pretend, I haven't seen anything, but it's not up to me. This is one of the, the teachings which is powerful. That it's not that you have a choice to backslide or not.
That's the nibbida.
Nibbida,
nibbida is the thing that...
Yeah, it's part of it, it's part of it. You just think, what am I doing this for? These sort of, you're free. You don't want to go back again into sickness. If you've had a cancer, you don't want to volunteer, to get it back again, see what happens. It's the pain is gone and you're free. So, you try and make sure you stay free as much as you can. It's an automatic thing. That's a nice thing. It's not up to you. It's not up to your choice. Oh, crikey, I better stay in this path. It's not really that type of nibbida. It's just more like, you're enjoying it. You're finding nice happiness and joy and purpose and meaning and fulfillment in your life. And you may sort of, experiment just doing something else, but yeah, you have to come back again. Okay, we got usually some questions from the little machine. They're still listening. Very good. See what we have here from the old machine. From Germany, okay, from Hedel Nasser and Misha in Norway. After meditation, I feel very tired and empty, as if I had a hard day's work and I want to go to sleep. Is this a good sign, or what can I do to feel more refreshed? Thank you. Oh, it really depends how you start. Maybe that you were tired and empty before you start, and now when you're meditating you realize what the problem is. You've just been forcing yourself, because I was telling that to some students, when the old story of doing final examinations at Cambridge. I never realized how tired I was until, you had to really stop, come in the moment, relax the body, and then find out, crikey, just my brain was so empty and tired because I've been doing too much work. A lot of times we're not mindful, aware of that. But, in that case, you can go to sleep. But if there isn't any physical cause of that, then a lot of time you haven't done a hard day's work. You're on holiday, you're on a retreat. Yeah, the first couple of days you may feel sleepy, but if that's still happening after 6 or 7 days of meditating, having good rest, there's pretty good physical health, then you don't feel like tired. You get this incredible boost of energy. Just real, good, pure energy, which is not sort of the same energy as like caffeine, which can sometimes make you, let's say, wired. It's just beautiful energy. And certainly not empty of some things, but just full of caring and the positive emotions. So I don't know how you feel more refreshed. Maybe you just need to. It's from Germany. Maybe you just need to do some more rest, and don't worry so much. Don't use your brain over much, because remember, your company, whoever you work for, they pay to use your brain for 8 hours or 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. They've got no right to make you think about your brain when you leave the office. Stand up for your rights, freedom of the brain. In other words, that your body leaves the office, but your brain should leave the office too. So give it a good night's rest. What is the difference between sitting meditation and lying meditation? I've been doing lying meditation. It's not helping me with depression, although the experience is truly beyond words. The meditation can relax you, but the lying down meditation, I don't know, it's maybe a bit too close to sleep. And maybe just it doesn't arouse the energies of the body. So maybe you can actually switch between some lying meditation, some sitting meditation, then lying meditation. Sometimes you also do the walking meditation, which is very helpful, because the walking meditation does get the body going, and that can be sort of very, very, very helpful to get some physical energy up. But you've got some experiences truly beyond words. Anyway, if it's something, always to experiment, try this and try a bit of that, but once you can sit comfortably, you can sit on an armchair if you like, but maybe just keep the body a little bit vertical, and then that means that you can be able to still relax the body and let the body sort of be not a burden to you, and be in this moment, and to see if the energies can really start coming up again. But really, I don't know, it's not helping with depression, and then the experience is truly beyond words. A little bit of a disconnect there. If you have a really good experience, usually it lasts afterwards, the afterglow of meditation. You feel really peaceful, happy. And that should really start to allow the senses to be refreshed. Anyway, I'm not quite sure I've answered that question deeply enough, but on the information I've got, that's the best I could do. And lastly, from Norway, I enjoy my profession as a male nurse because I relieve the suffering of others. However, I'm seriously considering ordaining and becoming a monk. I've noticed on other Buddhist traditions that monks can have a daily job and don't need to live in a monastery. In your tradition, can one periodically return to help others? That is my job. Even in a monastery. You just help all the other monks and stuff who go there. But you don't have a paid job, for a salary. And so it's a different type of job, and it's not just daily. I was complaining for fun. I was in Singapore and Thailand, and it was Chinese New Year in Singapore. Everyone's had the afternoon off, except me. And you notice when other people have holidays, that's when the monks have to work twice as hard. In New Year's and Christmas, you really have to work there because people are free, so they come to a monastery or they come here and have to sort of answer all their questions again. So that's our work, extra counselling on those days. But anyway, you're not doing it for money. Again, it's not really a job in that case. It's just, I was to mention this to someone a few days ago, it's like the saying of Mark Twain, to make your vocation your vacation. So your job, your profession, it's not really a job or profession. They don't really need to pay you because you're really enjoying it. It's giving you a lot of fulfillment. But if you're a male nurse, don't tell that to your boss. You enjoy your work so much. Otherwise they'll cut your salary. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, no, if you're a nurse and relieving the suffering of others, I noticed that the doctors and nurses, you relieve the suffering, but then they go back again afterwards. You don't really relieve the suffering totally. And you end up sort of going there for one last time. So you keep the suffering in a manageable condition, and you get rid of aches and pains, sicknesses, temporarily, until the big one comes, and then you're in there and you die. So it's a band-aid. Really overcoming what is a really underlying cause of suffering. And that is sort of something which the monks can get into, and to people like the nuns. So, it's not the pain, it's not the disease. What's underneath all of that? Because you can see, it's amazing when you see people with so much real pain, we would notice it. Because they've let it go. Weird stuff. The place that, they're dying, they're getting sick, but they're smiling. There's that one monk, K.C. Dhammananda. The doctor told me on Cottage, he's the only person he's ever seen who, when he was told that he'd only had a couple of months to live, nothing else to do, he didn't sort of say, I better sort of reflect upon this. He just burst out laughing straight away. Some people think that's weird. He should be put in the asylum. But if you know what monks are, just, you laugh. Yay! I'm out of here soon. Anyway, so if you have a daily job and don't need to live in a monastery, what that means is, are you a real monk? When I first came here, I would, ask, the other traditions, like the Catholics especially, because they had a monastic tradition. And I said, well, this is our lifestyle, are we confusing you by calling ourselves monks? Because the word monk, was coming from the Christian tradition. Then, they asked him, well, what actually is a monk? A monk should someone, be celibate, and someone who should live simply, not so worldly. And, because of that, Venerable Nito sent me this little cartoon. What was in that cartoon? It was of like these two monks. One monk was living in an armchair in a nice suit and with a glass of wine. And he said, brother, whatever it was, from his other one, that the rules are not relative. In other words, like relative morality. You can't get away with that. So, there's, okay, you can say, well, just a monk can mean anything. Well, no, it's something. It doesn't look like a monk, doesn't smell like a monk, doesn't sort of, quack like a monk. So it can't be a monk. So there's certain things expected. So if you see, and this was happening in Thailand, if you see a monk travelling in a private jet with Louis Vuitton bags and a big Rolex watch worth a fortune, is that a monk? Yeah, he may have a bald head and a brown robe, but that's not a monk. So a monk by their renunciation is the word I'm looking for. How much they've given up, not how much they have. So it's going in the other way. We rate people in this world a lot, by how much they have, how many records they've broken, how many matches they've won, how much money, how big their house is, and we still do that. We rate people. But in the monastic tradition, nuns, it's not how much we have, but how much we haven't got. That's how we rate, if you're going to rate them at all. So that's why when people come up and say, "Oh, Ajahn Brahm, you could have done so much, you're a big loser." And I say, yes, someone understand at last. So yeah, I'm a loser. And I'm so happy to be a loser. I lost so much in my life. And so free. So the more you have, just the more burden you have. The more you renounce, the more you've lost, the more freedom you have. If you win a match, you have to play in the next round. More stress. If you lose, you can go home and relax. Who wants to be a winner? Not me. I enjoy being a loser. Losing rocks. So anyway, so you lose your past and forget about it, and you can keep the good stuff if you want. Lose your worries about it, lose your anxieties, lose your depressions. What else do you want to lose? Lose your worries and concerns. There's lots which is really good to lose. So be a loser. Anyway, there we go, so I've gone on too fast. Anyway, this was supposed to be an announcement. There are some places available at the weekend retreat, March the 2nd to the 4th. That's 2 weeks' time, isn't it? That's with Ajahn Api. We'll be teaching at this retreat. All are welcome. People can come and speak to me if they are not sure of... Who wrote this anyway? Who's me? Sorry? Bianca. Where's Bianca? Our next room. So that anyone wants to go on that retreat, 2nd to the 4th, on beautiful Jhana Grove. It's just so peaceful and happy there. It's one of the best places in the world to get lost. So get lost on March the 2nd to the 4th. Lose all your worries, concerns, problems at Jhana Grove, 2nd to the 4th. If you want more details, you can look up in the internet, Jhana Grove Meditation Center, or you can go and talk to Bianca. Wow, 4:23, overtime. Okay, any questions? Good. Okay, let's go.